Hi everyone, today is February the 24th. Beautiful day in the Ozarks, supposed to be up to 60 today after that below zero last week. Almost all the snow's gone except for on the north side and in the woods there's some. And I thought I'd get another frame out. Calling this frame number 4. Have a lot of arrow points on it. Dixon points. So we'll start with this big one here first. I believe a Dixon point made out of a tabular chert. Not sure the type. Really thin, which a lot of that tabular chert is pretty thin. Found this down in Pulaski County by Fort and Leonard Wood, Little Piney River. I think it's a Dixon broad blade they call them. Here's a point I found, creek bank. I was trying to dig out some pottery and this was laying right next to the pottery, late woodland pottery, so this is probably a woodland point, but you can see where it's been water stained. I don't know if they picked it out of the water, used it, or what happened. This is a little unique point. Its notches were punched out, probably with an antler punch. You can look at the cross section of it. Here's a point I found over a dead buck site. I'm calling it a Williams point. Probably used as a knife. I think that's Jeff City Church. Point I found it in the creek. I think it's Jeff City Church. Had a lot of quartz veins in it. Real pretty point under light. There's another point I call a Williams point found Pulaski County by the Little Piney River. The thicker than the rest of them here. Pretty well made though. I think it's Burlington. There's a piece made out of a tabular chert. Still see some cortex here, a little bit here. Found in a really muddy part of a creek, really creek stain. Snyder's point, pretty well made. Could be, you can see how thin it is. Also, it's that tabular chert is really flat, thin. There's another Snyder's. One up by St. Louis back in 1993 after the flood, major flood we had there. I found this point, this point, this point, this point together. This is Burlington, heat treated Burlington. This could be Dixon or a Wabisa. Really thick for a Dixon point. Made out of Burlington. Found this one beside it. Same thing. Heat treated Burlington. This point I found with it. Real pointed base, but I think this is a tip of a broken knife. They rebased it. You can see how it's not centered. not heat treated either, so used it like that. Here's a Dixon point on the woodland site. Jeff City shirt, real nicely made, really thin. Another Dixon point, even with a rounded base. Dixon point will have rounded and the more square base like this one. They were found pretty close together, so that's why I'm calling it a woodland, not a Gary point. Made out of that kind of caramel colored Jeff City shirt. That's a pretty point. This point I found out in the field by itself, the only thing I found in that field. I call this a Stanley point. Just the way the shoulders come up, it's different than the Dixon point. And the material, I'm not sure what it is. It could be stained Burlington. These are mostly found in western Missouri, eastern Oklahoma. These points here are Nodita points. All were found in Arkansas. This one, all these. Here's a little, they call a crisp ovet. It's actually a preform for the Scalorn point. This is probably so small they just discarded it. Same thing here. Here's some Scalorn point. Here's a real nice made one. Really well done. Here's a little bit longer one. Real sharp. Made a high quality Jeff City shirt. This one over here is probably the longest one I found, even with a broken tip. Kind of crudely made though. Point found is a reed point. I don't know if it was made out of a piece of chert that would bend in the fire. It looks like it. Here's another point. Could be a reed point or it could be a Cahokia. Got the ear broken off. Side notched. Burlington. What else we got here? I got a Washita point. I found out in Oklahoma, western Oklahoma. Made of alabates. First arrow point ever found. Here's another piece of alabates. Looks like a preform I found same day I found that other point. Pretty little point. Here's a little Scalorn point that's made out of quartz. Here's a Scalorn. Used to call these Sequoia points with the serrations on them, but I think they just call them all Scalorn now. Real pretty little point. Some of these were different bases. This one was made and had a little base, kind of like a corner tang knife. Different. This kind of a bifurcated base. Some of these other bases. This one looks like a little table rock. Here's this point I found last fall. Looks like a Dalton point. Where's this other one? Looks like Graham Cave point base. This looks like a small, I'm going to call it a Smith type, even though the base is not quite like that. Excuse me. Really high quality chert, Chest City chert. These triangle points, most of them are from Illinois. This one up here I found, about the only one I found. I think it's a true Madison point. Here's one I found, but I think it's a broken tip of a point that they resharpened. And I found this little triangular one. It's kind of beveled on the side. I don't know if it's just the base of a larger point they resharpened down in Jefferson County. Just trying to think what other things I haven't shown. This point here, a point I found out in Oklahoma. Small drill, pointed little paddle drill. Little tiny pencil drill. I found same place where I found that other paddle drill. And that's about it. There's some quartz point found down in Arkansas. It's got a big bevel on it. Not sure what type it is. Really thick, sharpened down. Little corner notch point. These right here are Cahokia points, found in Illinois. Close look at this one. I'm not sure what the material is. Little Scalorn point. Blunts. Here's a tiny Scalorn point made into a drill. And I guess that's about it. Try to get out tomorrow and look for some arrowheads, and we'll catch you all next week. Later.